Hi lovelies, I'm Ariel and this is Maven Unmasked, and today we are going to talk about my journey with mediumship. I have had several of you send me private messages and emails about mediumship, wanting to know what it is, how they can learn, how I learned, did I always know I was a medium, how to get certified. That has been a big question. Who are my teachers, all of that. So we are going to cover that today. So this is my journey with mediumship. So what is mediumship? Mediumship is about proving the continuity of life. If you're very much of the spiritualist church type of view, NSAC, SNU. So NSAC is the National Spiritualist Association of Churches. SNU is the Spiritualist National Union. But mediumship is about promoting, well, not promoting, let me take that back, but it's about proving the continuity of life, that life exists, it continues after we pass on, that the soul never dies, okay? It just transforms, it just changes shape. So that is bare bones what mediumship is. Now, I believe mediumship has always been around for centuries and centuries, but it was really kicked up with the spiritualist movement back, in the Victorian era, back in the 1800s, was when it really began to take off and gain popularity in England and in the States as well. With the Fox sisters, do some research on the pioneers of spiritualism, and you will learn a lot. So what is the difference between mediumship and psychic? I will leave a link below to a great video that I did with my dear friend Alyssa back when we were doing our Mystic Minds YouTube channel about the difference between psychic and mediumship. But psychic energy is heavier. It's about current life situations, past, present, future. Will I get married? How many kids am I gonna have? What do I need to know about my job and my career right now? Is this guy gonna come back? That kind of thing. Should I move here or there? Premonitions and dreams and things like that. That is psychic work. It has a heavier, more grounded, earthly vibration than the high vibration of mediumship when you're connecting with spirit. Spirit has to lower their vibration a little bit, and you have to raise your vibration and meet them in the middle. So there's definitely a different energetic feel for psychic versus mediumship. Mediumship has a much lighter, less dense energy than the psychic does. Mediumship is purely, psychic is I'm tuning in through your aura, reading your energy, tapping into your guides, whatever. Where mediumship is, I'm not reading you. I am in direct communication with your great Aunt Mary who passed on. Okay, and great Aunt Mary is telling me this. Mediumship, again, through proving the continuity of life, you provide evidence that this, was great Aunt Mary. So let's say great Aunt Mary had a rose garden that she loved, and you bring up a memory of you, the sitter, the person who's getting the reading is the sitter, are a young child, and you're watching your great Aunt Mary in her rose garden, and she's got her pruning shears and she cuts her hand really bad. So I may say, and she's showing me some cutting shears, and I feel like there was an injury, or she got a big cut on her hand with those shears, and you would have been there to witness this. Can you validate that? So it would be something that I cannot Google, that I cannot look up. It's direct communication. The spirit is bringing these memories to me. They may bring up how many children they had, or tell me about their childhood home. They may show me the way that they passed, their relationship to you. There's so many things that spirit can and will talk about. Okay, so have I always known that I was a medium? Looking back on it now, having had, training, extensive training, so much more to go, so much more to learn, but I've been fully immersed in mediumship every week since 2014. I sit in a weekly development circle dedicated to mediumship development. So this, I don't talk about mediumship a lot on my channel, but mediumship is a part of my daily life. So have I always known I was a medium? As I've learned about myself and my energetic body and my mediumship, I can definitely look back in past moments in my life and say that's what was happening. I thought it was this, but I was really connecting to spirit. I had a significant other at the time, and their mother passed, and I remember being on the phone with him and feeling her presence and feeling like I was talking to her, like in direct communication with her, and she's talking to me. And at that time, I thought I'm just, in the grieving process, or I don't know, that I was making it up. I don't know what I really thought, but now I know you're really connected to her and really speaking with her. Different feelings that I would get in my body and not being able to interpret what those was. I now learned that that was spirit coming into my energetic field. So many past things and why I'm into the things that I've always been into, it's all come together and makes sense. So have I always known I was a medium? No. Have I always wanted to be a medium? Yes. Is mediumship something that you have to be born with, or can it be harnessed? I think we all have special and unique talents and gifts. I think we all have some level of psychic ability. Every medium is a psychic, but not every psychic is a medium. But why not try and learn and develop it? For me, I think the desire was just so intense. That's how I ended up here. My soul knew. So I feel like if you're being called to do this work, some part of your soul wants this, or at least wants to learn about it to a degree. So, you know, feed that thirst, feed that hunger. So, how did I get started? So the end goal was always mediumship. It was never really about tarot for me, even though I do so much tarot on the channel. I pull cards on my Instagram, on my Facebook all the time. You know, the majority of readings I do are tarot readings, but my heart and soul is a medium. So how did I get started? Again, I've always been into this kind of thing. I went through a lot of trauma in my life, coming out on the other side and healing that. I didn't know who I was, what I liked, what I wanted to do, anything. I kind of came back to spirituality and said, although, I had gone back to church and all of that, I just didn't feel the same. It didn't feel like home anymore. I grew up Catholic, yada, yada, yada. And I just felt, this was back in 2013, and I just felt this, strong pull to do the mediumship, to pursue it. It's always something that I wanted to do, but it was something that I thought you had to be born with, or your family had to be mediums, and blah, blah, blah. Come to find out, I do have mediumship in my family, but I didn't know it at the time. And it was something that I didn't think that I was gifted with, or that that was attainable for me. It felt like a dream, but I wanted it so, so badly. So I cried and I begged and I prayed and I cried and I begged for a whole year to find a teacher. And in that period of time, I was so frustrated. I was so mad and so frustrated. Like, this isn't working. I've got all these books. I'm doing all these readings, reading books and absorbing all the information I can. I've got all these crystals and these oils, and it's not happening. Why is it not happening? And I realized it was already happening. I just didn't know what it was. But I figured I would teach myself how to read tarot, because I couldn't find any tarot classes at that time. But I'm like, okay, if I learn how to read tarot, that's kind of like mediumship. I'll be tapping in and working with my intuition. So maybe that will strengthen and build those muscles so that mediumship will be possible for me later. So I picked up my first tarot deck, and I want to say April of 2013, maybe. Yeah, I want to say like April of 2013, or 2014. I think 2013, and taught myself how to read tarot over that year. And then, reaching out and calling shamans and like wellness centers and all these places, doing endless Google searches, trying to find a teacher, and literally every night crying to the universe, to God, begging and praying, this is what I want to do. It's all my heart so bad. Please help me. And I'm not exaggerating. I cried and I begged and I prayed for a year. So that's why this is even so much more meaningful for me. So in the summer of 2014, I was on Meetup, if any of you all still use Meetup. And I think I had typed in like mediumship teachers or mediumship classes or something like that. And I found my teacher, but I didn't know at the time. She was, back then doing like an open circle kind of thing, where anybody could just drop in. Every week was a different theme, but related to spirituality, meditation, mediumship, that kind of thing. And so I went, and it was a meditation to meet one of your spirit guides, to meet your joy guide, and it was so vivid. And I fell in love. I was like, this is it. I love this. I want this. And I remember she mentioned that she had a committed circle where it was a closed circle, where it was dedicated study, the same people every week, big commitment kind of thing. And I remember saying, I want to do that, but I'm not ready yet. I knew I wasn't ready, but I knew it was something I wanted to do. So I, went off and, kind of did my own thing. And I came back to look for her group and I couldn't find it. It was gone. And I was devastated and heartbroken. And then I started a new job that year. And then that December, so December 2014, I found her post again and reached out in an email and said, hey, I want to come be a part of the weekly committed circle. I want to do this. I'm ready. I want it. So, and since then, every week I've been meeting with these lovely souls who I just love so much in my development circle. So I think I'm going to do another video sometime here down the road about what a mediumship development circle is like and how you can start your own. Just some ideas for those of you who are curious about what a mediumship development circle is. So committed group of people. You can have an open circle or a closed circle, but where it's focused mediumship study in whatever way that means to you. Exercises, practicing reading for each other, learning techniques, watching videos, whatever it is, learning about the pioneers, all of that kind of stuff. So I'm like, is there anything else? So since then, my mediumship has taken off. I'll never forget the first spirit I connected with in circle. Nobody could take her, but I just remember so vividly. And I was just hooked and loved it and so grateful and crying to God, to the universe, saying thank you, because this is what I wanted. I finally found my space and my tribe and where I'm supposed to be and who I am. And it makes me emotional because mediumship has changed my life. And I wouldn't trade that for anything. It is such a blessing. It's such a gift. It's so powerful. And I am truly blessed and honored to have the ability to do this work and to fulfill my soul's purpose and my vocation. So I take it very, very seriously. I take the ethics involved in mediumship very, very seriously, because this is something that means so much to me. So sorry, guys. I'm like, don't cry on the video. But that's how much, how serious I take mediumship. Okay, it's not a joke. It's not a game. It's not a party trick. It's healing and it's love. Okay, so, it's respect it. Even though they've passed on, they're still people too. They're still souls too. So respect them and treat them as such. I'd done ghost hunting and paranormal investigations. I was always really, really super into the paranormal all of my life. Scorpio, hey. And, astral traveling and all that kind of stuff. My awakening was like crazy. Maybe I should do a video about my awakening. But it felt like, and don't get me wrong, I still love haunted, spooky things, but it felt like going in there and spirit, you're just going into a zoo. Spirit is locked up in a cage. You go to a haunted prison or haunted location. It's like, oh, let's go to the zoo and check it out. It just felt, after a while, it just felt so disrespectful to spirit to me. And that was not too long after that I really, that I found my teacher and really got into the mediumship in a different way. It was like once I shifted the way I thought about spirit, and that it's not a game and it's not, the ghost hunting and let's get scared, let's try and catch something on tape. No disrespect to any ghost hunters or paranormal teams out there. I honor and I respect what you do. It just wasn't for me. It felt like an exhibit, or I don't know the best way to describe it, but like a game, like going to the zoo, let's look at the pretty foreign animals in cages. That's different. So that's just my feelings on it. Again, no disrespect. But I started doing the weekly development circle. I started doing platform events. So mediumship galleries, platform events is you literally get up in front of an audience and connect with loved ones in spirit from the audience. So if you've ever been to a Teresa Caputo platform, mediumship gallery event, John Edwards, James Von Prague, that kind of thing. All right, I am a developing trance medium. I'm not going to talk about trance on the channel, but if that's something you're curious about with mediumship, please feel free to give that a Google. I'm to now me doing professional readings, which I love. I now have 2 certifications under my belt with mediumship. The first I got in 2016 with Lisa Williams, if any of you know and remember her. And then my second one I just got in November, but I officially graduated this past June with Soul Side Out through my mentor, Luann Beecher. And if any of you guys know of the Mediumship Development Support Group on Facebook, Lillian Suarez, they're part of Soul Side Out. I have also studied with Richard Scholler, Mavis Patilla, who I love, the queen of mediumship. She is fabulous. I've had the opportunity to study with her twice. She was my first official teacher outside of my mentor. I adore her. I look forward to studying with many more as my development goes on, but it's a constant. It's never like you learn mediumship and you're done. It's a constant growth. It evolves on itself. It builds on itself. You think you learn something and then spirit shifts it, and you gotta take it to the next level and learn something else. There's always more knowledge, more deeper understanding to come through it. Okay, what else? So let's talk about ethics a little bit, or let's break down how spirit communicates a little bit. So we all have energy centers in our body. Okay, so I guess I'm jumping ahead of myself, but why not? So for those of you who want to begin your development and learn more about mediumship, you can study spiritualism, the spiritualist pioneers, learn about your chakras, learn about your clairs, so your clairsentience, your solar plexus, your clear feeling, your clairaudience associated with your throat chakra, your sense of clear hearing, spirit communicating, talking to you, not like I'm talking to you, but you hear it more in your head, although you can hear it outside of you, objective and subjective clairaudience. You also have your center of clairvoyance, which I'm sure all of you are familiar with, so your third eye chakra. And then you have your sense of claircognizance, which is clear knowing, okay? So I just may know something, okay? I just know your grandmother passed when she was 63 years old of a heart attack. I just know it, that kind of thing. Okay, read as much as you can, do as many intuitive exercises as you can, search for a teacher or a mentor. There's so many more classes out now than when I first started. Take advantage of that. I am student teaching the Soul Side Out course this year with in-person students. I'm loving it, and it's such an honor to have been asked, an honor and a pleasure to be doing that. But get your hands dirty, get into the community, do your research, go to a platform event, Google, look on Meetup or Eventbrite or something like that, and look up local mediums, ask if they know any development circles, classes, teachers. If they're having any platform events, go to those galleries, those demonstrations of mediumship. If there's a spiritualist church or a metaphysical chapel in your area, a metaphysical store, those are just some places that you can start to kind of tap into that community and that energy and see if it works for you. Okay, so what was the process of certification like? I know some of you have asked me that. So with Lisa Williams, I believe it was 12 weeks, and then we had a 4-day intensive in San Antonio, Texas. That was my first solo big girl trip, by myself, not knowing anybody. I loved it. It was in October. It was just a fabulous experience. I grew so much and learned so much in that trip. So I highly recommend that. And then this one that I just completed with Soul Side Out, it's a year. It's a year course. It's 3 levels: beginners, intermediate, and advanced. For the certification, you have to go through all 3 levels. And it takes about a year. And it is intense. Oh my God. It's intense. It's not a walk in the park. It requires a lot of looking in the mirror, of wanting to work on yourself, to better yourself, a lot of personal growth and healing, a lot of putting fear and self-doubt aside, dealing with ego, dealing with self-esteem and confidence issues. and learning to connect with spirit and building a soul family with your classmates. I can't really explain to you soul family until you've experienced it, but it's just such a beautiful thing. What else? But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of reading, a lot of time management, a lot of commitment. There is a lot of homework. It's not a walk in the park. It's not, a cakewalk or anything like that. So make sure if you want to do it that you're ready, that you have the time for it and the commitment. Just know that if you want to do beginners, you're like, oh, I want to do the whole course, and you only end up doing beginners because you're like, it's just not for you. That's okay. Or if you only go up to intermediate, you don't have to take it all the way to the end. But it was intense. I believe I became more responsible in my self-studies. People have asked me, oh, you go to college and get your degree. I went to college for a little while, but I didn't graduate. But this is my college. Seriously, that's how serious I take this, and my studies and my homework and my work with this. Going through my Reiki. I'm now a Reiki master teacher. I'm getting my crystal healing therapy, transpersonal crystal healing certification soon. This is my college. This is my work. This is my life. This is what I want to do. I don't want to do anything else. So I know that personally. I'm not saying that has to be your path, but I'm just sharing about my path because so many of you have asked me. So I'm like, I guess it's time I finally talk about it. But mediumship, has led to so many other things. If it wasn't for my desire to do mediumship, I wouldn't have learned to read tarot. I wouldn't be doing Reiki or crystal healing or, any of the other wonderful, fabulous things that I'm doing. If I wasn't a public speaker, back in school all of my life, from, doing the readings in church to doing, being on the speech team and nationals in Chicago and all of that, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing mediumship platform demonstrations in front of like 40 people. Okay, so I can look back on my life and see how Spirit has put all of this in my path and aligned this perfectly, because this is my vocation and my soul calling. So know that some of you may just want to do this as a hobby. You may not want to make it your living, your full-time gig, and that's okay. For some of you, this may be your passion and what you want to do with your life, and that's great too. So either path you choose is beautiful. Even if you don't want to do it, you just want to learn, you're just curious, that's cool too. Okay, so why are ethics are so important to me? And so you are required, before you book a mediumship reading with me, you're required to read my mediumship page about a mediumship reading, what it is not, that there are no guarantees. Spirit has free will just as we do. If you're coming to sit down and you want to hear, from your Uncle Joe, I can do my best, but I can't guarantee that Uncle Joe will show up. Spirit has free will just as we do. So there's some rules in there, some of my ethics that I have, you must wait at least 6 months after a significant passing to receive a reading, to allow yourself some time to work through the grieving process, just my personal ethics surrounding mediumship. Okay, so you are required to read that before purchasing a mediumship reading with me. That's found on my website. But again, I take it so seriously. So ethics are really, really important to me. It's something that my teachers have drilled into me, because mediumship is a sensitive thing. You don't want to rip open, you have to learn the craft and hone the craft. You don't want to rip open, somebody's old wound. You're dealing with people who are grieving. Not everyone comes to you grieving, but most of the time they are, and learning how to deal with that and be gentle with people and nurturing people, and to not dig a hole in old wounds and worsen that grief. So there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just like, oh, I'm picking up the phone and calling your your dead uncle. It's a lot more to it than that. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. So does my family know? Yeah, they know. They've known pretty much the whole time. I haven't really kept it a secret. It's just like, I ask them all the time. I'm like, are you surprised I do what I do? They're like, no. You've always been that way. You've always been, different or out there, a little strange child. Used to do XYZ when you were little, and now we kind of know, what it is, and where it was all leading to. So it's not out of the ordinary for you. We're not surprised in any way. I'm the Halloween baby. So, I guess it's self-explanatory. I do have some family members that don't understand or who want me to use my gifts in unsavory ways just to be nosy or be in other people's business. Ethically, I do not do that. It's appalling to me. It's disgusting. Just because you want to know, I don't know, let's say one of your kids, friend's brother died or something like that, and you just, want to figure out how they passed. So you call, a medium for that. That's none of your business. Ethically, hell freaking no, I don't do that. That's why ethics are so important to me. Or they believe you're talking to the devil, you're working with the devil, it's against God, it's in the Bible that mediumship, is a sin, blah, 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 blah. For me, I know that I am helping people for a fact. Spirit, God, the universe has given me signs. My life was saved by God so that I would be able and ordained to do this work. And I mean that deeply, fully, and wholeheartedly. God saved me to do this work, to help uplift, heal, and save others. So I know for a fact that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I know for a fact that it's not of the devil. I'm not communicating with anything evil. Not that there's not negative energy or entities out there. Protection, spiritual protection is so important when doing any kind of work, especially psychic and mediumship work, or just going about your daily life. But it is not of God. It is not of God. It is not of the devil. It is about bringing peace and healing and comfort and knowledge about, that the soul goes on, that there is life after death. And bringing comfort to those who are grieving. I think Jesus and Mary, I went to Catholic school, so I know a lot about that kind of thing anyway. But I think they would appreciate someone comforting the grieving, the struggling, those who are feeling lost or mourning. Isn't that what Jesus did anyway? So those are my feelings on that. So yeah, my family knows, even though they, some of them don't understand or may not think it's the best, but for the most part, my main peeps, they're not surprised. They totally are okay with it. They love it. They come to my events and things. Not a big deal. So I know for a lot of developing mediums who don't have that familial support and how difficult and hard that can be. So my heart goes out to you. I have been so lucky and blessed that that's not an issue in my life, but know that you are not alone. There are so many other mediums who, have that experience with their family members or significant others. My significant other, although he helped, take part in sparking my spiritual path, he doesn't like it or necessarily understand it, and we argue about it sometimes. So it's not, a cakewalk necessarily for me either, but enough about that. So do I literally see dead people, like as clear as I see this, magician cup here? No. Have I before? Yes. In terms of mediumship readings, when I'm giving a reading, I see in my mind's eye. Okay. But I have had instances where I wasn't doing a mediumship reading. I'm just doing my regular life stuff. And I've seen physical spirits standing in front of me as clear and as solid as you and me. So it is possible. Do I think it's common? No. I think the energy and the atmospheric, energy, pressure, whatever has to be just right. And your vibration and their vibration and the energy, of the space you're in has to be just right and just the right conditions for it to happen. I think it's very rare, but it does happen. Okay. Do I have a day job? Yeah. I am a full-time caregiver for my grandmother. Am I getting paid for that? No. But it is it's a full-time job. It's 24/7 plus trying to run my business on top of it, teach classes, do events, my weekly, circle sitting, all of that kind of thing. It's a lot. Plus trying to have a social life. I was working at one point until my grandmother got sick, so I've had to balance a day job, full-time job while doing, my side hustle of, tarot reading and whatnot. But currently right now, do I have like a main gig? Taking care of my grandmother and doing readings is my main gig. So yeah, it's my full-time job, my day job. What else do I do? I do Reiki. I do offer distance Reiki as well. Anything you want to see what I offer in terms of readings, MavenUnmasked.com. You can go to the Book of Readings tab for online services. If you're looking for something in person, you can click on in person and then in person services. Okay, but Reiki, crystal healing, tarot and oracle readings. I do spiritual mentoring, mediumship readings, events, like healing parties and stuff like that, psychic fairs, that kind of thing. Does mediumship, this is a really big, really common question that I get all the time. Does mediumship work long distance over phone, Skype, video chat, Facebook, whatever? Yes, it does. Energy knows no bounds. Your loved ones can be in more than one place at once. They can be here with me and still be there with you. There's no time, there's no space on the other side. So that is not an issue. I am not connecting with, although I'm connecting with your spirit people, spirit knows when you book that appointment, when you purchase that reading, when we set a date and time, spirit knows, okay, Allie booked a reading for, July 30th at 2 o'clock. We got to be there, you guys. Spirit knows. They're rounding up their people. They're probably the ones who, put it on you to get a reading in the first place. They've already planned it. Okay, they're ready. So all I'm doing is when we're setting up that appointment, we're just letting spirit know. Okay, so when I'm got you on Skype or whatever, or on the phone, I'm not really, although I love you, I'm not really paying you attention because I'm connecting to your loved one. They're going to be there because they're going to want to get that message across to you. Now, I can't guarantee that the particular soul you want to hear from will come through, but your loved ones in spirit will be there. Okay, I'm ready to just whatever they have to say. So does it matter? No, it doesn't matter. You may notice that maybe like with Skype or something like that, maybe the screen may get a little wonky or whatever, because that's the energy coming in from spirit. But it doesn't matter if, we're across the world or sitting face to face, spirit will show up. Spirit will be there. Okay. Alrighty, and how to book a mediumship reading with me, I will leave a link below, but again, you can check out MavenUnmasked.com and then go to the Book of Readings tab and then click Mediumship Reading. I also offer a hybrid mediumship and tarot reading, so it's about 30 minutes of tarot, 15, 20 minutes of tarot, 15, 20 minutes of mediumship, something like that. Or just my full mediumship reading, and you can also find that on my homepage. But I'm Ariel, and this has been Maven Unmasked with my path to mediumship. I am still learning and growing, have my mediumship circle this week I'll be going to. So although I, do a lot of teaching and talking and writing and speaking in the community, please know that I'm still a student as well. I will be a forever student. I love to learn. I soak it all up, soak up all the knowledge like a sponge. So if this is something you're interested in and you want to do, know that this is a lifestyle and it changes you. It's not for everybody, but do your research and have some fun, let go, and trust spirit. I hope you have a beautiful journey with your mediumship, and so much love to you. Have a great one, lovelies. Bye.